Central Bank of Nigeria holds MPC meeting this Monday. Analysts expect increase in interest rate as inflation rises. Federal government approves the establishment of Infrastructure Support Fund. Twitter changes logo to X, replacing Bluebird symbol. Plus, oil prices steady Monday as rate hikes expected. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Musa Abubakar, your guide. Now let's begin by telling you that President Bola Tinubu at the weekend approved the establishment of Infrastructure Support Fund, ISF, for the 36 states of the Federation as part of measures to cushion the effects of the petrol subsidy removal on the people. The new infrastructure fund is expected to enable the states to intervene and invest in the critical areas of transportation, including farm-to-market, road improvements, agriculture encompassing livestock and ranching solutions, health with a focus on basic health care, education, especially basic education, power and water resources that will improve economic competitiveness, create jobs and deliver economic prosperity for Nigerians. Now, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL Limited, remitted an estimated 123 billion naira in June. This was the first time in 18 months that the state oil company remitted to the Federation. The chief financial officer of the NNPCL, Omar Ajia, in a statement noted that the 123 billion remitted by the national oil firm comprised 81 billion naira as monthly interim dividend and 42 billion naira as 40% production sharing contract profit oil, in addition to compliance on payment of royalties and taxes in line with the provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021. Now, by June next year, West Africa will operate a fully integrated common securities market, creating a wider market for investors to trade. 4 African countries, Gambia, Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau, will however be assisted to improve their capital market infrastructure before the integration. West Africa's securities market remains fragmented with low market liquidity and limited infrastructure.
The West African region's capital market remains fragmented, lacks depth and liquidity, challenges the West African Capital Market Integration Program intends to address. Expected beneficiary countries include Anglophone and Francophone West Africa. Phase 2 of the integration project entails harmonization of regulations in participating capital markets, as well as building capacity of market regulators and operators to handle cross-border investments. Speaking at a 2-day training program for key players in the region's capital market, Managing Director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Madam Abina Amoa, noted that full integration will eliminate concentrated risk in the market.
For a company looking to raise capital, it means that you now have access to the entire West African capital market to raise capital and not just focusing on your own small country and its limited savings. It means also that as an investor who is looking for investment opportunities, you have access to invest across the whole region, across the broad sectors that operate in the region, and also understand the various opportunities and risks that are in those markets.
Director General of the West African Monetary Institute, Dr. Olorunsola Olowo Feso, noted that as part of the roadmap 4 participating member countries will be assisted to improve their capital market infrastructure.
That would be a plus to Africa in terms of job employment, in terms of liquidity, in terms of IT infrastructure, because you cannot do this without having robust infrastructure in place. And the database, as I've mentioned, as well as the website, you as an investor, you can look at it, sit in your sitting room, and look at the database and see, oh, this is the company listed in Nigeria, and you can do, in fact, we are going to go into having a platform, an application that you can download into your phone and sit down and do trading.
Well, Nigeria's non-oil exports in the first half of 2023 declined marginally to $2.539 billion from $2.593 billion in the same period last year. The Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC, in its half-year progress report on the non-oil export performance for the year said a total of 224 different products were exported in the period under the review, ranging from manufactured, semi-processed, solid minerals to agricultural commodities. Well, the Executive Director and the CEO of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, Dr. Ezra Yakusak, is in the studio to give us details of the half-year report at Nigeria's export market. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, the half-year report shows that in the first quarter of this year, precisely in April, non-oil export reached 1.345 billion, indicating an 8.50% increase. And now there's a dip of 0.09%. I know it's a slight one, but affected the performance from January to June. What do you think account for this reduction, and what does it imply?
Okay, by the time we analyzed the non-oil performance from January to June this year, what we came up with, what we realized is that, Nigeria had a general election in February and March this year, and of course, that may have affected economic activities. Also, the general global trends, we realized that there may have been, a kind of reduction of global demands on some key or some commodities that may have probably precipitated the slight reduction in our non-oil export performance. And of course, like it has been said, the reduction is slight, it's marginal, it's 0.09%. But our projection is that at the end of the year, we are going to hit the $5 billion mark, all things being equal.
Okay, with the elections, you mentioned election as a factor which actually led to the reduction. And now that election is out of the way, and with the introduction of the new reforms by the administration, Bola Tinubu's administration, a unification of FX and removal of fuel subsidy and other fiscal and tax reforms. How do you see trade performing now to the end of the year?
Okay, I think, we have to understand the purpose or the objective of those reforms. To the best of my knowledge, those reforms are for the benefit of Nigeria and for the good of our economy. So yes, there may be some little bits of shocks or challenges here and there. By the end of the day, the economy will pick up and we will see the essence of this reform subsequently. And you see, reforms like any other programs or projects or changes that are being introduced, it may take a little bit of time for people to fully accept it and for the economy to absorb whatever shock these reforms may bring in. But then at the end of the day, I'm very sure the economy will be for the better.
Okay, currently we see the fuel subsidy removal reflecting on petrol prices and food prices. What does this mean for export business?
Well, like almost every other business, it will slightly affect the export business because the export business does not operate independent of other economic activities. It's part and parcel of all other economic activities. And the fuel subsidy removal, of course, will a little bit affect export business. But like I said earlier on, I'm very sure, I'm optimistic, by the time things stabilize, everything will pick up at the end of the day.
Okay, the issue of rejection. I understand that NNPC is a party to address this issue of Nigeria's export being rejected by other countries. How far so far?
Well, I think from some of the programs we implemented, the rejection is being reduced, because once a product is rejected, we receive an alert. I mean, NAFDAC, a sister agency, received the alert of that product, and of course, the quarantine service, they receive an alert, and specifically, the alert will indicate why the product was rejected. But you see, over the years, what we did was that in 2022, because of the incessant case of rejection, we set up an interagency committee rather, and we visited the UK to find out the cause of this rejection, and also kind of interface with them to see how whatever can be done to ameliorate such rejection. And the Nigerian Export Promotion Council led that visit with NAFDAC was in attendance, Nigerian Quarantine Service was there, and a lot of other agencies in the export value chain. And at the end of the day, we met with the various regulatory agencies. We even visited the ports, and at the end of the day, they inform us of the issues that led to such rejection. And you won't believe it that some of these issues are actually from our exporters, i.e. the failure to comply with various import regulations, and sometimes just basic packaging. And so when we came back, we had several sensitization program and training for our exporters, so that the case of export reject will be curbed or at least drastically reduced. And from the reports we're having and from the non-oil export performance we are receiving, the case of export rejects is being reduced by the day.
Okay, in your presentation, you were disappointed by the quantity of inter-African trade in Africa. How do we improve on this?
Well, I'm disappointed by the volume of inter-Africa trade, because in the non-oil performance report from January to June this year, 2023, no African country even made it to the top 15. Top 15, none. And that was not very good, because our trade, intra-African trade, is very low, from 12% to 14% compared to other continents. And one of the key things that key steps government took was to introduce the African Continental Free Trade Area. That's AfTA. Yeah. And that, of course, was targeted at ensuring or improving intra-African trade. On our side, that's Nigerian Export Promotion Council. What we did was to introduce what we call the Export Trade House Scheme, where we set up some trade houses in at least 3 African countries now. We have one in Egypt, that's Cairo. We also have one in Lomé, and that's Togo, and we have another one in Nairobi, Kenya. And with time, we're going to introduce other export trade houses in South Africa and other countries. The essence of the export trade houses is to improve intra-Africa trade and to ensure that Africans, or to facilitate trade between Africans, because it's a general problem that we are aware of. And of course, you are aware of the fact that various successive African governments have tried to ensure that they improve intra-Africa trade, and that's why the Abuja Treaty, that's the African Economic Committee Treaty, popularly of 1991, popularly known the Abuja Treaty, was even enacted or established, which envisaged even a common monetary union, a common custom, and a free barrier to trade among Africans. So hopefully, with time and with AfTA, that's the African Continental Free Trade Area, things will change. So African trade will change for the better.
Okay, can you take us through the type of goods that were exported from January to June this year?
Okay, generally from January to June, about 224 different products from Nigeria were exported to various countries around the world. And what that means is that on a daily basis, Nigeria is developing more products. This even against the 214 products that were exported in the whole of 2022. So you see, there's an improvement on the number of products that are being exported. And so, but generally, the top on that list is a fertilizer or urea fertilizer. And of course, we had other products like cocoa beans, sesame seed, and we also had cashew nuts or kernel, soya beans and soya beans meal. We also had ginger, aluminum ingots, gold dough, and many other products in that order. But we also had manufacture and raw commodities. These are some of the products that were exported in the period under review.
Now, apart from cases of rejects, there's this issue of supply chain constraints. What is MPC doing to somehow curb that, to enable small businesses access niche markets seamlessly?
Okay, the issue of supply supply chain constraint is a key thing. It's a thing that we need to look at seriously. I mean, as government, we need to sit down and look at it. But one of the things NEPC, the project NEPC introduced to curb supply chain constraint is the domestic export warehouse scheme that is ongoing now. And the essence of the domestic export warehouse is a warehouse where the various regulatory agencies or inspection agencies will be at a common facility, a common place, like the customs, NAFDAC, Nigerian Quarantine Service, and the various pre-shipment inspection agents that will be there, and goods meant for export will be brought within the facility, and those various regulatory inspection agents will inspect the goods, and once the goods are inspected and loaded on a truck, they go straight to the port without any interference or any further inspection by the custom or any other agency. So this is one of the project, the NEPC is an interagency project, by the way. The Nigerian Port Authority, Shippers Council, Quarantine Service, and many other agencies are part of that project. So I am very sure that once that project kicks off and is well implemented, the issue of supply will be completely curbed or eliminated.
Okay, now the new administration is no doubt interested in scaling up exports. What else is the NMPC doing to help government achieve this?
There are so many things NEPC is doing to help government achieve this. Of recent, or 2 days ago, we had the first national conference on services, because another aspect of non-oil export that we are neglecting as a nation is the export of services. And of course, that's understandable, because services is intangible, unlike other products that is, you can see them, but services, you can't see them. You can't see services, rather. So, we introduced, or we had the first national conference on services about 2 days ago at Nigeria Export Promotion Council, and a communique was issued, and we are working on it. And by the time this is harnessed, by the time this is put together, I'm very sure the volume, or the value of non-oil export, inclusive of services, will automatically shoot up. And the other projects the NEPC is undertaking is, of course, we attend various international trade fairs. And what we do is to identify key Nigerian exporters with wonderful or good products and well-packaged products with the required standards, and we take them to various international trade fairs where they will exhibit their products, and orders are usually generated. But one other key project I need to mention the NEPC is doing is what we call the Go Global Go Certification Program. And that program is because we realize that our products, yes, they may be good, they may be well packaged, but then there are basic certifications programs that are required to assess various niche markets. And so what we did was to initiate that program and identify the goods that we felt that are okay in terms of international market, but they don't have the various or basic certification. And so we pay off the certification for those exporters or SMEs. And we paid it off, and they obtained their certification. And this is a project I feel, at the end of the day, it will actually open up Nigerian goods to various niche markets internationally. Okay,
briefly, before I let you go, what should we expect in 6 months' time?
In 6 months' time, we expect a like I said earlier on, we expect 5 billion non-oil export performance from our various products because we embark on a campaign and we are sustaining that campaign of export for survival. Nigerians need to know that the only way out, the only way we can match Nigeria against the dollar is, match Naira against the dollar is for non-oil export to increase. And so we are sustaining our campaign of export for survival so that at the end of the day, our economy will be better off. We are going to get there's going to be an increased foreign exchange, employment generation, and of course, industrialization.
Thank you very much, the Executive Director and CEO of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, Dr. Ezra Yakusa.
Thank you for having me.
Let's now see oil and other commodities. Nigerian stock market at 1.33 trillion naira in just 1 week, promoted by demands in banking and insurance stocks. Bosede Abel has a summary of market activities for the week just ended.
Last week, the performance of the equities market across sectors was predominantly bullish, as the benchmark index rose by 3.89% to settle at 65,003.39 basis points, reaching another remarkable 15-year high by the end of Friday's session. Market capitalization increased to 35.395 trillion naira. Data from the Nigerian exchange groups shows that this was boosted by interest and demand for banking and insurance stocks. A total turnover of 4.1 billion shares worth 99 billion naira in 41,446 deals were traded in the week by investors on the floor of the exchange. All other indices finished higher, with the exception of NGX ASIM, which depreciated by 0.07%. The financial services industry, measured by volume, led the activity chart, with 3 billion shares valued at 36.7 billion naira, traded in 20,079 deals. The oil and gas industry and the conglomerates industry were in second and third position, trading in the top three equities. United Bank for Africa, FCMB Group and Japan Gold and Ventures accounted for 1.727 billion shares worth 18.2 billion naira in 4,707 deals. 73 equities appreciated in price during the week. 19 equities depreciated in price, while 64 equities remained unchanged. Bosede Abel, Business Express.
Let's now see global stock market update with Ineka Oko.
Asia-Pacific markets were mixed on Monday as investors digested key economic data from across the region. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index tumbled 2.13% to lead losses in the region, dragged mainly by real estate stocks. The Shanghai Composite was also down 0.11%, ending at 3,164.16 and recording a fifth day of losses in 6 days, while in Japan, the Nikkei 225 gained 1.23% to start the week. European markets were also mixed this Monday as investors digest the inconclusive results of Spain's election. The DAX was up 0.13%. UK's FTSE also added 0.13%, while the French CAC declined 0.16%. U.S. stock futures on their part notched higher as investors awaited a batch of key earnings reports and a major policy decision from the Federal Reserve. S&P 500 futures and Nasdaq 100 futures both rose 0.2%, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 0.16%. Stocks in Africa, like those of Asia and Europe, started the week in mixed territory. The JSE Africa Top 40 in South Africa appreciated by 0.47%. The tone index and Namibia's overall index rose fractionally, while Morocco's free float index and Nairobi's all share in Kenya declined.
Well, that's it. Business Express returns Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Keep a date with us. I am Musa Abubakar.